Also, fair from Kakray, tactical, approach from teams, coaches, So we go into the game. Yana the no fair from Kakra.
Rich, into MSN first Champions League draw in Basel. They're buying a few issues. I mean, first one, a raising concerns and up in for have say, of course, Europa, only a bias. Only corrupt, and I say that's not the case.
It means a fraud.
It means only a fraud. Or is it a case of just mere systematic error from the statement of Javier Eridino? Maybe Jenny say a bit mainly a mistake. And of course, and normally your statements by. First, after the draw, most of the teams are contacting UEFA. Draw number, there were a lot of mistakes in there. Have you made mention of, I think, two main mistakes, of course, and they contacted, and the first one was Atletico Club de Madrid. I'm contacting your friends and you for no catch say there were systematic errors of course who drawn him. And then of course they shouldn't have made a team that they met. So I say UEFA Eshe drawn him. Another team Villarreal and normally Manchester United all the same group almost another error. I'm contacting UEFA say there was a mistake in some issue ni bi another team Real Madrid. A penny a friend say Perez. A contacting you for I catch him say, yeah, your home born and some now cocosunum. Yeah, you're drawing you're making a okay, and we are fine. Into yeah, a coming a conum quadia, and come excludium from red drawn and combeno. But then UEFA and UEFA Bogui. A big market say, because of UEFA Super League and Perez, a leading conforming Marco in that's the reason it's here UEFA Enfium. So the other draw was done, and we saw the first parents. Salzburg, Bayern Munich, and the likes. But then, Rich, a notable mention is say this young man over here, a brand new friend is Sergio Ramos. A brand new Bobo Spain. Now before no, he captain of the Los Blancos of Real Madrid. No, he will be coming back home since Olivier Real Madrid on Sedan Bobo Bia this season. But then the emotional attachment of Sergio Ramos and then Real Madrid will be brought to bear in the Champions League game against PSG when he goes back home. So certainly, a brand new friend of Sergio Ramos Bekofi. But then what's the tactical connotations of Real Madrid against PSG? Okay. I mean, say Javier Macabibri. But then for me, Ancelotti has moved this Real Madrid side from just runners up last season under a brand new friend of Zinedine Zidane. This season, in transitions, Real Madrid is a very solid team. That's exactly why a brand new friend of Vinicius Jr. Etimia shared a host of goals and assists in the season. But then also, the centre-back pairing of Alaba and Militao has been very solid. Militao will be anchor ball playing and Konye very good. Omani ball anako very jittery. But then under Ancelotti, he has been very good. That is why I will always say that some marriages are always made in heaven. Because Ancelotti or call Everton, Nenkoye, or call Napoli, Nenkoye. But then coming back to Real Madrid, team of the Magic Champions League before, in fact, twice in a row, he has proven that this is a team that he can manage well. And I will go back to their game against Atletico Madrid. Abrante Feno, Luka Modric, the Croatian, received a standing ovation at the Wanda Metropolitano because his defensive contribution, even at his age, is telling. And then, of course, Ancelotti contacted Perez, say, Abrante friend Luka Modric and someone contract extension. Okay. So that game against PSG and then Real Madrid, for me, I do fancy Real Madrid as it stands now. Sisi Ameka said here, I do fancy Real Madrid to go through because the team is stacked. Even on their bench, there's a certain Eden Hazard before. No born a ball at Chelsea, but Sisi Onyebi more, of course, in Koforis Maka say injuries, but in the form no any. And even with that, players like Jovic Mo and the likes have taken up their mantle. Also, only Karim Benzema sometimes want me drop it deep. Everybody as a false nine. They pick the ball, create and score for the Real Madrid side. Today, they are leading the Spanish La Liga with a whooping about 15 points gap between themselves and then the second place team. So, Rich, we move on to the next game. A very, 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 very tricky game, Rich.
Very, very tricky.
Very, very, very tricky game. And
Inter Milan and then Liverpool.
Inter Milan and then Liverpool.
I didn't think that tricky.
I'll tell you why, Rich. Before that, no, Coach Emma Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, like I say, we're waiting about 52 years to go to the San Siro as a young man, as a coach, and the likes. So for him, he's happy to say he's going to the San Siro. But then this is why Inter Milan against Liverpool is tricky. And then Liverpool fans will listen. Because Inter Milan for our coach, our friend is Simeone Inzaghi. Niniani Felipe Inzaghi, I know about AC Milan in the past. He was a former coach of Lazio. Osha, anytime of picking Lazio, no, he moved Lazio from being safe position to fourth position and then competing. Or no, before Babe taking Lazio, now Marcelo Bielsa, and I need the coach of Lazio for just a week. when you took the Lazio team, they have progressed in the Italian Serie A and have qualified them for Europe, and they've played some very good football. But then the thing is that the first time I was picking team, a big team in Inter Milan, he has taken them to the summit of the Italian Serie A. Today, Inter Milan are at the top, leading the Italian Serie A, scoring for fun, and then building on the building blocks Antonio Conte at Ibeshemu. Because last season, Antonio Conte had built a very good Italian Serie A side. But then Antonio Conte free up, Lukaku free up, Ashraf Hakimi free up, Obiasi and Yajumana Conte Bayern. But then today he's at the top of the Serie A, and then he managed to qualify second. And today
reason currently Lukaku. Every Inter no. Because no office said the project Inter. After I say Conte kono, I say
yes.
And the Sané tell them I'm come back to Chelsea.
Very well rich.
Okay.
And but today no, Abrante friend Simeone Inzaghi, Abeye Jumano. So this is very good football. I think that in February we are going to have much fun, and people should look out for this game. As it stands now, Liverpool will go through, but it's going to be a tricky game for Jurgen Klopp and his charges at San Siro. The next game is Villarreal versus Juventus. Another big game, because for me personally, I'm a big fan of Unai Emery. You kind of pragmatism in football. Yes, she say team normally very solid at the back. No one attacking on the counter presser. Unai Emery is the best guy. At PSG, no star-studded team when team implementing the pragmatism. But in a Villarreal, he has young men who will listen to him and they are going to play good football under him and in Villarreal. For me also, I do think that a branch friend Federico Chiesa, on any day against Villarreal in Europe, he's going to prove the key for Juventus. And then
Abrante and Chelsea.
Yes, Abrante, or her have you in the Chelsea for.
Okay.
And even in the Euros.
Even in the Euros. Chiesa guy.
Yeah, Federico Chiesa.
Very intelligent.
Federico Chiesa.
Okay.
And just for semantics, ne papa, I want to say friend Antonio Chiesa. In the past, on it Gianluigi Buffon Mubobo. Tamonomi very young, so he comes from a footballing family. He knows how to play the game very well, and I think that because Juve are not getting it very well in the league, the Champions League is going to be something that Massimiliano Allegri and his charges will look to go for it, and Villarreal presents to them a good opportunity. Say, I'm going to qualify into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Timejin say Juventus ever go through, and then a big one. Manchester City versus Sporting CP, and then of course Obia Beka said Manchester City will go through because they found that Pep Guardiola and any players in one, they are going to do very well, and we'll touch swiftly on the tactics that Pep Guardiola usually this season or person Obo, then we go on. So Man City will move on. Another one, Rich, Atletico de Madrid versus Manchester United. Ralf Rangnick and now Macau has said, Nejuma no ye Hoffenheim. Nhyira or Salzburg, Nhyira or Red Bull Arena, the Red Bull franchise. He has gone to a big team in Manchester United that he needs to prove himself. He needs to show to the whole world why he's being called a professor, the big man, somebody who has tutored the likes of Julian Nagelsmann, Tuchel, and Jurgen Klopp. He needs to show, say, oh, you're very good on the job.
Okay.
And against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League knockout stages, present to him a big opportunity to show both at the Old Trafford and the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium, so we show say, on see a top manager. But then, the 4-2-2-2-2 tactics on Obono against Atletico Madrid, 3-backer. When we say Diego Simeone, I employ in the Champions League this season, it is going to be a very good matchup because, of course, there are going to be spaces for the two number 10s of Manchester United to exploit in Jadon Sancho, and then, of course, the two attackers in Marcus Rashford and then Cristiano Ronaldo to also worry the Atletico Madrid defense. It's going to be a very good game. I think that this is a game I would want to avoid predicting because in January I would want to know how the two teams stand before I'm even making a prediction between Atletico Madrid and then Juve.
Okay.
Everything hard also and in the Ajax team. For me particularly, I branch a friend Hala, Sebastian Hala. West Ham and coach a friend David De Moyes. Now all have a good time. A prania there with me Bobono. And I also the way not everything hard Moyes episode born now. He doesn't fit the play. He doesn't fit the way Mikel Antonio move. Everyone through the trenches. Use your body. It me move. Push it team up. No, it me was Abono. He went away to Ajax in Amsterdam. Sisia, he is leading the Champions League charts. He's playing very good football for Ajax Amsterdam, and he's scoring very good football. And of course, although in January, remember AFCON for Ivory Coast, I think that in February he's going to be a key man for Ajax against Benfica. Finally, another tricky draw. One, because the current Bayern Munich manager was part of the Red Bull franchise because he was at RB Leipzig. and Omunianumani RB Salzburg for under the whole RB franchise, honestly Americans. And then also there is a generational rivalry between Austria and Germany because almost share borders. Germany and Austria are two countries but then a bunny football, a banner go can see any sign there is a huge rivalry. It will go on. And the young man Karim Adeyemi, Nigerian descent, German descent, up to now, all team to specifically Obama Germany there where he wants to play. He is going to be key for RB Leipzig on their counter-attacking play. And this is exactly how people like Ralf Rangnick telepathy and any pedigree coaching because young men like this have gone through the system and they will be key against them. But then of course the Bayern team at the last time we shot against Barcelona, even when nothing was at stake, it was top notch. I do not see anywhere where Salzburg will come close to them. Bayern under Julian Nagelsmann are going to push these boys, Lewandowski, Müller, Jamal Musiala, will push them, and then they are going to beat RB like Salzburg, move on to the next stage of the competition. So finally, Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea. I think this is a very good draw for them. Last season, in time of Lille, winning league, and
Christophe Galtier Chelsea for complaining. Lille, dear say, Mokatu and Gromit,
Lille for someone here. I can say we are seeing now money. I can say first draw no at Chelsea,
but
second draw no sometimes at Chelsea. Someone here say I didn't know, and Kanyamiano, I don't know when you draw for. So Lille will curse their stars, but then Chelsea will be happy. Jorginho, any Thomas Tuchel, any players in your money, but so many Lille just to make sure some qualify. Now I'm move on. See, and only for Champions League, reach, but I'll move straight into and then you may Premier League games at Ebaso. Premier League games at Ebaso. Into your picture here, Facebook is here, rich. Marcelo Bielsa and Pep Guardiola, and a little bit of history. In 2011, and a Pep Guardiola adding the Barcelona players and the team. Echo San Mamés, Omkosia Atletico de Bilbao. At the time now. Marcelo Bielsa and the manager of Atletico de Bilbao. And it was a very good game of football in November. They had never met before as coaches. But before that, before Pep Guardiola ever take up the coaching career, of our flight, SSN in Yema, Echo Marcelo Bielsa, Argentina, Echo Tina say, Papa, una coaching, yes, is your best. Mbese mission bibi or nasi. Now church in Yema. So it was the first day that the young boy was meeting the godfather of the tiki-taka in the modern era. And when they met, it was an exciting game of football at the time, although it ended 2-2. Say na game ni pa. And anytime a Pep, any Marcelo Bielsa, there are a lot of errors because tactics no those my players push them to their limits. They make errors and they are good.
Yeah, game na nkasa. Yes, because amount 4% you bro me bet kakra.
Yes.
And Man City Leeds United. Because of that game wins, Pep Guardiola against Wolves. Any they against before deployed a particular tactics. Ralf Rangnick 4-2-2-2-2 the same thing that Pep Guardiola use here. Sani 4-2-2-2 no use the same thing no use here because on him say against Leeds United they are going to use the pace of the young boys of Leeds United on the catch on the break. So then Rodri and Gundogan are going to be two sitting midfielders anytime Man City pushes up with men up front. And they will make sure say the likes of Bernardo Silva and Gabriel Jesus will attack the spaces that Leeds United will use. And who say what they arrow?
Yeah, sure say because we're on 4 backs on Lachas, they cancel Nikita Bono Hasi. No making sure say Gundogan and Rodri stay to make sure they keep it compact in the midfield.
Okay.
Then up front there's a 2 number 10s in the half spaces. It was Bernardo Silva, any Phil Foden. To make sure someone will be creative, I'm Gabriel Jesus, any other attack of Ebano to make sure they score the goals that they need in that particular game. So for me, Rich, I do think that in this game, a very, very good game of football, but in the quality of Manchester United, Manchester City, back to the 4 winning game. And then finally, for me, Rich, on today on the tactical board for me, Norwich City against Aston Villa. So Bekaya. And Chebiani Yesaki Abrantia, a friend Dean Smith from Aston Villa. I know the manager of Aston Villa. And I cover the young English man who know about the ball or Liverpool or call Rangers, Echo Meki, a lot of good news for himself about back to Aston Villa. Just last week, or call back to Ninchi, and Liverpool Anfield. Well, you're doing Liverpool, but then of course the quality of Liverpool by Liverpool it's me winning game no, just by a penalty. So it shows you the pedigree of Steven Gerrard and any team. Okay. Even at Rangers, or many teams no Celtic mo boy, he showed quality over there. So the game against Norwich and Aston Villa tonight is also going to be an exciting game. For me, I do think say the Smiths and the charges at the end of the day, no, they will not be able to hold their own against Steven Gerrard and any team. So Rich, finally, Major say, and then you made here Steven Gerrard and any team, Aston Villa, Road, no, they will be able to beat Norwich City and then they will win. For me, finally, Manchester City win, Aston Villa win tonight in the EPL. Then that is all for now, Rich.
All right, yeah, that's a Fiifi-Manfred, and I'm not in Kano.